really pleased to introduce Ari Newman.
Ah, Juliet, how silver sweet sound lovers' tongues by night, like softest music to attending ears. My bounty is as boundless as the sea. The more I have, the more I give to thee, for both are infinite. Good night, good night. Parting is such sweet sorrow, that I shall say good night till it be morrow. Sleep well upon thine eyes, peace in thy breast. Would I were sleep in peace, so sweet to rest. That was a reading. Oh, sorry. That was a reading from Romeo and Juliet. My resume as a performer began when, at 5 years old, I was given the opportunity to perform in a dance adaptation of Romeo and Juliet with Hudson Guild Theatre Company led by Jim Furlong. I was, and still am, to this day, the youngest performer in a Hudson Guild Theatre Company production. This was me in my red tights at the time. It was a long time ago, but it had a tremendous impact. I loved being on stage, and I wanted to do it again and again. I remember thinking, wow, if I can do this, I can do anything. This was excellent for the development of my confidence. I started with Hudson Guild when I was around 5 years old, participating in the Guild's after-school program and summer camp. At first, I attended elementary school just down the street at PS 33, but at the end of first grade, I transferred to a charter school in Brooklyn, much farther from our apartment in Chelsea. Coming to Hudson Guild was like coming home. It was the way I built and maintained friendships with other kids in my neighborhood since I didn't even go to school here. These were kids that were just like me. We were given opportunities to try new things and fuel our bodies and minds by playing basketball, exploring the arts, and so much more. At summer camp, my counselor Ferris was like the coolest person in the world. He looked like me, he lived in my neighborhood, and he really cared about all of us. He knew my brother, so he treated me like a little brother. He asked me how I was doing as if he genuinely cared. He made me feel seen and understood. We once went on a summer camp trip to Coney Island. To this day, it was the best pizza I ever had. Well, it might have not been the best idea to go on the roller coaster right after eating the pizza. In elementary and middle school, I was the school president for 2 consecutive years, and in 8th grade, I graduated as the school valedictorian. I started to write my own poetry, performing it through spoken word, and I realized I had something to say that resonated with people. I have since performed at the Guggenheim Museum, Nuyorican Poets Cafe, the Hard Rock Cafe with actor and comedian Kenan Thompson, the New York City Poetry Festival, the Schomburg Center, and at Hunter College, where I was also chosen to introduce the Chancellor of the New York City Department of Education. I'm told that this resume is pretty strong for 15 years old. Thanks. So this is part of why I feel we need a Hudson Guild. Hudson Guild is a place that keeps kids off the streets, provides opportunities to try and learn new skills and talents, builds confidence, feels like home where kids like me can be seen and understood. I'm excited to continue my journey with Hudson Guild through its summer youth program this coming summer. Now that I've learned some Shakespeare, the spoken word piece I wrote that I want to share with you all is my own. The world's a stage, the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts. But the man with the most dignity offers pieces of his heart, giving it to those in need before his time on stage restarts. When it all ends, what will be his final remarks? Would he have wished he did more for the community, using his position in the world to offer young kids opportunity, Maybe be the reason that kid in poverty gets his spark and eventually changes the world. So when his time finishes, he's sure to leave a mark. Leave the world with something to remember. Have little boys and little girls inspired to be better. Changing the narrative and the stereotypes formed by the oppressor. Learning that if you can take the cold, you'll be immune to any weather. See, what good is a flower covered by the dirt? Has so much room to grow, show everybody what it's worth. See, kids like me are just like these plants, our potential rarely tapped into until someone gives us a chance. They say it takes a village to raise a child. But will that village stay helping even if times are tough just to see that kid smile? Will they be willing to take that inch just so he could take a mile, knowing it would all be worth it? Because all good things take a while. You can't grow if you never let yourself bleed. I let my goals guide my soul and keep me off the streets. Climbing this stairway to greatness, I know the steps are kind of steep, but the outcome is income. If I learn how to lose, then eventually I'll win some. My mother always said, no matter what, to keep my chin up. If you've never been a leader, how could you think to run the kingdom? This, above all, to thine self be true. Shakespeare said it, so now I'm saying it to you. They try to break you down, but your spirit will not move. Perseverance or procrastination? Which one are you gonna choose? I assume that you won't choose the latter. See, sometimes you lose balance when you're climbing up the ladder. You won't ever make it. I just tune out all the chatter because there's people rooting for me. To them, my success, it really matters. Falling off this path, that's what I try to avoid. Sometimes I lose hope and I just fall into a void. I put the pen to the paper and the mic to my mouth, just tuning out the noise and say thank you to Hudson Guild for giving me this voice. Thank you.